we're talking about different words when it comes down to when you start to get into multi a word, which is essentially what? A goal, right? So what does everyone always say when it's time to set a goal? What is the very first thing that they should do for your goals?
Write it down.
Write it down. Right, every single time. And I don't debate that right. Like if you want to go somewhere, it's better to know that destination before you get there. But when it comes to goals and achievement, basically there's 3 steps. There's the external motivation, which what are some goals? You want to make more money, sell more homes, get a 6-pack, or whatever it may be. You got your external motivator. Second is going to be like your practices and your basically the work. So whatever you're doing to get to that goal. And then third is going to be become the type of person that deserves that goal. Okay. So number one, the quote that I heard that made me decide, hey, maybe this is a good idea, was the guy said winners and losers have the same goal. And I was kind of like, that's pretty true. If you go to the Olympics and the 100-meter dash is ran, and you talk to first place guy and 8th place guy, last place, and say, hey, what did you want to happen before you started this race? They're going to say the same exact thing. Well, I want to win gold. So it kind of debunks the myth that just writing down the goal is the sole driving factor to achieving, because 2 people had it, not 2 people got it. So it kind of pushed that to the side to where I was like, okay, I'm listening. Tell me what else you got. So then he went into the processes and behaviors and just the engagement that you have to do in order to achieve. And that gets a little bit closer, because once you're working on the steps to get to something, it makes sense. Like, yeah, as long as I'm making the right steps, I can get there, but just writing down what I want to happen is not really going to work. So as he got to becoming the type of person you need, he said, hey, this is what I want you to start doing. He said, I want you to ask yourself, what would somebody that's achieving what you want to do, what would they do in the situation when you come to a crossroad to make a decision? So you wake up, if you want to be a millionaire, if you want to play the best golf of your life career, if you want whatever your goal is, you have to make it personal. Whatever yours is, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what would a millionaire do? What would Tiger Woods do? What would they do right now? And what it does is, it takes the responsibility off of you and it puts it on an actual visual representation of what it looks like to get something done. WWJD absolutely went insane. And why is that? Because people had a perfect example of the decisions they should make when they come to a crossroad, and it was right there on the wrist every single time. So when he explained this to me and it started to make sense, I kind of was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop writing down a list of 75, which it's good, don't not do that, but I'm saying I'm going to stop writing down a list of 75,000 different things that I have to try to remember every single day to do. I'm just going to ask myself, what does someone that's successful or of value, what would they do at this point in time? And I figured out that inherently people, they need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. Because for the most part, we know what we should be doing on a daily basis in order to get to whatever the end goal is. Probably do. Yeah. And if we don't, we got the internet age, we can find the answer. But why is it that people don't just engage in the things they should do? Is because things get in the way, other decisions get in the way. To lay in bed a little bit longer, it gets in the way. It does for me, I know for sure. But when I ask myself and start to replace the questions I ask and ask myself better questions, because I feel like your own personal respect is the hardest respect it is to earn out of anybody. Once I figure out how to look inside and kind of internalize and start asking, okay, what would this person do? Or what would this person do? Suddenly life started to become a little bit easier to say, hey, I know what I should be doing. And it just removes the own personal responsibility and makes it where decisions are a lot easier. So that's kind of what I want to leave with you guys as you continue to go throughout whatever it may be. Just continue to sharpen your own mental. I love to tell stories, and I heard a story where 2 guys went to the forest and they said, hey, we want to cut this forest down. One guy, he went looking around at every single tree, every single branch, every single leaf. He was measuring it, trying to figure out how he can cut this down. He came back and he made 1,000 tools. And the other guy just sat down and started sharpening his axe. Because he knew if I had a sharp axe and a strong will, I can get all these trees down no matter what happens. So if you start to just work on yourself instead of worrying about what goes on everywhere around you, when you get to your decision, you'll make the right decisions that it takes. Without a doubt. That's what I have.